Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up. Why is Lawrence looking at me weird?
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like a weird day.
It is a weird day in here. Straight weird day.
Why is it weird?
Everything about this day is weird.
It's Wednesday?
It's because I'm here.
Oh, Braggs is here. That's right.
Nope. Not just going to make it about Bragg.
Oh, yeah. Are you sure we're not going to make it out, bro?
You guys saved me from the bricks today.
Adam Hoge, Mark Carman, Greg Braggs Jr., Lawrence Benedetto producing.
What's up?
Casey Stanaher in the distance.
From a distance.
Paul Agassi lurking. John, don't know his last name, most amazing salesman in the history of the world is in the building.
John doesn't know his last name. John Riskin.
John Riskin, thank you very much. I didn't know his last name off the top of my head. That's my bad. Trust me.
The stranger in the Super Bowl
not a stranger.
Airbnb who
He's
actually works here.
He's the king of all kings. If there's one person that I would bet my life on, it would be Riskin.
Okay.
Not risky betting
Nobody
on
knows
Riskin.
what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Welcome into the show. As Carm just named
happened.
random people in the office that no one watching the show can actually see, and certainly people listening to the podcast can definitely not see.
I'm telling you, the chat right now is in love with Riskin instantly. The way I just
Nobody's
saying
not
his
a
praises.
single person has mentioned him in the chat. Nobody has. Welcome in. We are going to talk football
Rude.
today, not random people in the office. Eric Edholm's on the show today, which I'm really excited about. You know, he's emerged from the other side of the draft as we have, and we got to talk about some things.
So, for those who don't know Eric, which is probably 1% of our listeners, but Eric is the king of all draft. You can forget Mel Kiper. You can forget literally anyone in draft world and the reporters. Take that, Ian Rappaport. Take that, M. Schefter. We got Edholm, and I'm fired up for Eric's visit today. And I got to tell you, I spent my morning watching Noah Sewell tape, and everybody, I was hanging out in the Discord a little bit about it, and the Discord was telling me to go back to 2021 when apparently Sewell was dominant.
Oh, yeah, he was. He
Okay.
was really good.
Well, that was 2021. This is 2023. I don't know what happened in 2022. I'm watching the tape today, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't see a quarter of Jack Sanborn. That's all I'm saying. 50 Sand God, I got your back if you're watching this show. You are not being replaced by Noah Sewell. I will bet my brick by brick hoodie on that, damn it, which I haven't bought yet, but I will because I love you.
Don't need it. It's the last day of hoodie season.
I'm sure
declared
there's
it.
a reason to wear a hoodie at some point.
Doubt that. It's going to be in the 60s now.
Nope, 70s coming up. Trust me.
Rise and shine 70s. Okay, any rate.
You're going to defend your baby boy Sand God until the end of the earth. He's a great, hey, as you should. As you should. He was a great story, and it's going to be a fun competition at training camp.
Listen, I was honestly going to the tape to get super excited about Sewell. I wanted to be like, oh, I get it. This guy's a lunatic. He's not that fast.
Okay.
What? I'll stop talking?
No, I'm just
Usually a good choice.
He's not that fast.
Are you going off his 40 time or how he plays?
How he plays.
Okay.
He's not that fast.
Okay.
And he ain't that physical.
Okay.
There's a form, nice form tackle. Grab the leg. I was expecting somebody to take someone's head off and run from sideline to side. That's why you're drafting a linebacker. That's all I'm saying. I could be wrong. I've only watched, roughly 6 minutes of tape. There's a whole other career out there.
So
of
you could be wrong.
I'm not saying
And
that.
you didn't watch 2021.
And I don't know what year I was watching. Whatever I watched, I was like, this can't be the dude. Where's the dude?
Okay.
Because I know that Ryan Poles is a genius. Trust in Poles, believe in Poles. I wish I was Ryan Poles. But what I watched, I was like,
Okay, well, he's a 5th-round pick, so, let's just relax.
I was going to say, I just did not know the show was starting with Carm coming out swinging on a 5th-round pick. that's just.
well, we're about to talk draft with Edholm.
How about, did you check out any of the tape on Travis Bell?
Yeah.
Did you
You and Corey did a great job.
Did we talk it up too much, Carm, or were you on board? Carm, stop listening.
I'm
Phone
100% on board. I'm just realizing that right now this thing's recording everything I'm saying, and it's DMing somebody that we don't want to
Adam just gave the most ultimate death stare.
So I'm
to
deleting.
Carm.
I'm deleting it because it was an
Normally
emergency.
I get the death stare for talking too much while we're trying to work before the show starts, but Mark just got the ultimate death stare from Adam. Hoge.
Everything Carm just ranted about
was
at
going
least
into Twitter DM.
29% of which was just nonsense. Was for some reason your phone was on dictation mode.
I guess.
And it was dictating everything that you were saying into a long text.
Yes.
Which was gonna be accidentally sent to somebody you definitely did not want it sent to.
Yes. One of the Bears draft picks.
Oh, you are so lucky.
Well played.
Oops.
Was it Noah
Good
Sewell?
save.
Was it Noah
It
Sewell?
was not Noah Sewell.
It is a weird day. Lawrence was right.
Prison Mike says Hoge is going to trade Carm for a 7th round pick next year. You know what? I would take that right now, but nobody's even offering that.
No trade. It's called straight cut, Prison Mike. I'm headed to the prison with you, buddy. Let's go.
Tay asking where can I find Travis Bell's film? Check out the CHGO Bears Twitter account at CHGO_Bears. Did we talk it up too much, or did you like it?
No, you did not talk it up too much, and I am super excited about rooting for a guy in Travis Bell. First goal is honestly, make the practice squad. That's your goal. Get on there. I think he's got I don't know. It's his weight is tricky because I feel like he almost needs to get leaner to be effective. Because he's not going to be able to get big enough on that frame. So I don't know.
Well, I think he's plenty big. He's wide enough.
Right. I'm wondering if he's too wide.
Well, he moves well at that size.
But he does move well at that size. Right.
So, I mean,
we're really. And Daniel Trump in the chat, 30 reps at 225. That did stand out.
There you go. Yeah.
People are not, in the grading world of people looking at the draft, they're not in love with Travis Bell for the Bears. But we'll see what Eric Edholm has to say.
I just find it interesting amongst Bears fans, because me, I'm the wait and see guy. I'm excited to see these guys at camp, but more people are excited about Travis Bell than Javon Dexter. One's a 2nd round pick, one's a 7th round pick. I just find that really interesting.
Well, here's what's. So many of these conversations we have about all these players, whether leading up to the draft or after the draft, it comes back to why this is all so hard to evaluate. I'm not just talking about us, especially us, but also these actual NFL teams, right? Because on one hand, you have Javon Dexter's tape that is not necessarily as dominant as Travis Bell's tape is, but one of them's playing FCS level football, and one of them's playing in the SEC.
Sure.
And one guy has almost oddly an incredibly slow get off, but even as Corey and I were watching that tape, we're like, there's no way his get off's actually that slow. Did they just not get on him about it? I know the read and react thing 100%, but even beyond that, it's still slow. And so it's like, it's got to be better than that. So can the Bears get that out of him? And if they can, you're talking about a 6'6" monster who's athletic as hell and very strong and physical, and it should all come together. The problem on Travis Bell's end is, he's 6 foot, and he's definitely going to be undersized. But you watch his film, regardless of who he's playing against, and it is just max effort every single damn play all the time.
Not to be the name dropper on here, but I sent some Javon Dexter tape to my guy, good old Hall of Famer Dan Hampton. He's like, yep, bad, correctable.
Oh, so not good, but you can correct it.
Yes.
Okay.
And
you talking about the get off?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, how is this possible? Can this be coached? Why do you think this wasn't coached at Florida? Because I think that's just a fair question, and some people made a great point in the chat yesterday, saying that Gators have been through massive coaching changes, and so perhaps he wasn't getting not even perhaps, he wasn't getting the consistent coaching throughout his entire career there that the Bears can, step in and give him here. So, okay, let's lean on that. And, if one of the greatest guys in the history of the game getting off the ball thinks it can be taught, I'm going to lean on that take over anybody else's concern. He's not that dude is not going to say yes, it can be taught if it can't. He's not. That is not his personality. He would come straight at it saying, "Can't be taught, won't ever happen. Dude sucks. Horrible pick. Bears." That's what he'd say. And that's not what he said. Yeah. So that's why I ask him, because he's straight honest.
Well, and just from what we talked about,
do you have your clear your throat before you start?
I try. I mean, I'm sorry. I've been going through it. I'm sorry, Lawrence. Lawrence is gonna kill me now.
I couldn't dare.
I'm trying. Okay. I'm trying. Okay. But
Barb
this is what we
watching
talked
today?
about in the
Where's Barb?
in the draft recap show.
Barb, can we get your son some
this
holes
is
or
what
something?
we talked about in the draft recap
Barb,
show.
we love your son.
They drafted people.
Not as much
They
as the
drafted
cookie.
guys with things you can't teach. Speed with Tyler Scott. Size with Javon Dexter. And then they're going to rely on the coaching to teach Tyler Scott how to run routes, to teach Javon Dexter how to get off the ball faster. So, Matt Eberflus knows what he wants in a 3 technique. So don't give me that bitter beer face.
No, I'm laughing at Prison might call you Flembrags, and now I'm thinking about a different name for you.
I'm sorry.
Flags or something. I don't know. But keep going.
That's it. That's all I got to say.
All right.
No, but hold on.
Never talking again.
No, hold on.
It's going to be tough for a podcast.
Hold on, Flags.
Flags.
Do you believe in that philosophy as the expert that you are? Do you believe in drafting for traits when the production is not as dynamic? Sandgott, incredible production, not incredible traits.
Yeah, it does surprise me how heavily they leaned into RAS and things like that. I didn't realize from last year's draft, and maybe I missed this, but I didn't realize how analytically driven they are. And it's apparent that they are. And when you saw that, feedback from the 1920 tape that of what they value in players, you could see that those intangibles are very important to them.
All right, we're about to bring in Eric Edholm, but first want to make sure you know about Game Time and using that code to get your discount on Game Time, because buying tickets to your favorite events should not be stressful. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. And with killer deals on last-minute tickets, their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets. Start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. It's really nice. You go into the app, and there's a little thing you swipe that says flash deals. So if you're just trying to go to, the ballpark today, for instance, probably get a flash deal pop up.
I'll be there tonight.
Great last-minute tickets, always available. It's so easy. You press the button, you buy them. It's a lot simpler than some of those other apps that are out there. They show you the images of where the seats are. They have a lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, all kinds of ways to protect you as you buy those tickets. And you download the Game Time app. You create an account. You use code CHGO when you do so. You get 20% off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Redeem code CHGO for 20% off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
So it is beautiful outside today. You should lean into it. And if you are a golfer, just a reminder that Pins and Aces is the official golf apparel partner of ALLCITY and CHGO. We are in love with our Pins and Aces gear. My hoodie is sweet. I wear it with 3 other hoodies, but the Pins and Aces hoodie steps up the best. It's really nice. And I'm getting tons of compliments on and off the course, by the way, wearing my hoodie. Lots of people loving it off the course because, my first round of the year is coming up here. But anyway, Pins and Aces is family-owned golf and apparel business. Family-owned, underlining that. They make the polos, hats, golf bags, Even our favorite beer sleeve, that's what Hoge loves, an innovative product that allows you to store 7 beers right inside your golf bag and keep drinking the cold beer the entire round. That is awesome. Check out pinsandaces.com. Use the code CHGO. You get 15% off your first order, and you get the free shipping. Once again, that is pinsandaces.com.
All right. We continue to dive into the draft with Eric Edholm now joining us from NFL.com. Longtime friend, neighbor of some around here. And Eric, thank you for jumping on with us today. We appreciate it. How you doing?
Boys, how we doing? Everything good?
Yeah, just still, I think, in draft recovery mode to some extent, as I'm sure you are too.
Yes,
Eric, I hope you don't mind, but I made you the king of all draft prognosticators, dive deepers. Forget about the Kuipers of the world. I'm on Team Edholm. Do you feel comfortable with this distinction?
Throughout the course of this hit, I will be increasingly more comfortable. I'm not a big spotlight guy. I don't love the accolades all the time, but I'll make it work for you guys. Just for the show.
That's why you need a hype guy, and that's what I'm here for. I got you.
I don't think Edholm needs a hype guy.
Everybody needs a hype guy. You need a hype guy.
Okay, I need a hype guy.
I could use a lot of help, boys. Let me just tell you.
Well, tremendous job covering the draft leading up to it. And, of course, in the wake of everything, I know you're going through some draft grades division by division right now. But sticking to the Bears, what were your big takeaways? What did you think?
Yeah, actually was just kind of working on NFC North when you guys called. So, yeah, I mean, it was I think overall it was a pretty good weekend for the entire division. I mean, you could certainly gripe about the Vikings picks, but I thought the Bears made a lot of smart selections. Obviously people are going to focus on the right pick, bypassing Jalen Carter, other tackle prospects, however you want to look at it. That's going to be the pick that kind of becomes the anchor of this class because so much was hinging on it, starting with the number 1 spot and moving down as they did. So, obviously we know there's up with future picks, so that's nice. It's a good little cushion to have. Right, obviously feels an immediate need. There were times when I thought, boy, he might be the best tackle in this class. His high points were very high. I felt like when you watched some of the lower competition games, I think I watched it wasn't the Akron was actually pretty good. I think it was the Tennessee Martin game, and there was one other one that I watched where I thought, is he playing down to his competition? I couldn't quite tell. This is the trick of being a draft analyst. You have to do some guessing. You try to call people for answers. But overall, I thought it was a worthy swing at that point. Just the question being, were they not comfortable with Carter's character? Because to me, he's the superior talent at perhaps an even bigger need position. So, elsewhere, I would have liked to see Keanu Benton, who went a couple spots ahead of Javon Dexter. That would have bumped it up a notch or two for me. But boy, I love the Tyler Scott pick, the Roshan Johnson pick. I thought some of their day 3 choices made a lot of sense and represented good value at positions where they could stand upgrade.
Going back to the first decision of this draft, which was 2 months before the draft even started, trading the number 1 pick to number 9. I guess, reading the rumors and everyone not thinking CJ Stroud was going to go 2, now that you have hindsight to your benefit, would you have traded the pick when Ryan Poles did, or should he have waited till the night of the draft?
Yeah, this is obviously a fascinating debate, and it's hard to really give it a fair and honest answer because, like you said, knowing what we know now, perhaps there's a different story here. But to me, had they just gotten draft picks in return, I could have entertained that theory a little easier. But I think what made it so desirable, in my opinion, for Ryan Poles was getting DJ Moore in the building with that pick. They had a veteran, a known quantity, one who's under contract for 3 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. A young guy, too. It just checked off so many boxes. And I think in a year or two, his salary is going to look like a pittance compared to what other top receivers are paid. So factor that in along with the picks they got, and possibly getting, 3 or 4 immediate contributors in this class as well with some of the ammo they got back. Bird in the hand, 2 in the bush. There's that. There's always the chance that value goes down after that point. And It would have been fun to see them do the double move, 1 to 2, 2 to 9, or what have you. Whether that was actually, close to happening or not depends on who you talk to, but it does sound like it was discussed. That would have been fun as heck for the draft guys and certainly for Bears fans. But knowing what they knew at the time, I thought that was pretty darn good value.
I also think you got to look at it from the standpoint of, like, what did they really miss out on their draft board, which we don't necessarily know what it looked like, right? But I guess what I'm getting at is by moving back to 9 and then moving again back to 10 on draft night, like, okay, you probably passed on Will Anderson, right? Like, I mean, that's probably a consensus of somebody that you passed on, but all those other guys that got drafted, like, I think they had Darnell Wright ahead of Paris Johnson, just for one example. So
yep.
they obviously, at the end of the day, were not comfortable with Jalen Carter. So from that standpoint, when they look at it, maybe they had Devin Witherspoon up there or something like that, and we just don't know. But I think from their standpoint, that's why they were so comfortable moving back as far as they did, because they got the tackle that they were really targeting. We'll have to like always, we have to say we'll see how it all plays out within 3 years. But I think from a process standpoint, Eric, that's why they were so comfortable doing it when they did it. And then when you factor in that they added DJ Moore in there and a future first-round pick, it just looks like a no-brainer.
I tend to agree. There's always that thought of, could we have done better? And NFL teams are going to ask themselves that. They're going to do a post-mortem. How did we do throughout the process? Did we bring in all the players for visits we wanted? Did we have as many trade discussions as we wanted? They're going to certainly dissect this move, in hindsight, knowing what we know now. But I have a hard time believing they're going to have any regret. First of all, imagining DJ as kind of the guy Justin Fields can lean on in a critical season for Fields' A, development, and B, his forecast in Chicago, given the assets they have next draft. It lines up so well in my mind that I'm not bothered by this lack of a treasure trove full of picks. I mean, that's great to see on paper, all the selections you get in a trade like that, but to get one sure thing, known quantity, and then, like you said, having the kind of the depth of vision they did on the draft board, which is, we think there are going to be X number of blue chip players that we're going to consider at that pick, and maybe half of them are available, or 2 out of the 5, or whatever the number is. That's pretty good work from a second-year GM who's relatively young for that position. So I'm sure it was a collaborative effort, and I think they did their business pretty well.
Let's lean into that Fields part, Eric. We'd had this discussion yesterday, and Bears fans, at least the ones that pay attention to this Twitter and watch this show, are pretty well convinced that Fields has plenty to be successful. And I think you can kind of look at this glass half full, glass half empty. Like, glass half full, you went out and got DJ Moore. Glass half empty, well, Darnell Mooney had a bad year last year, and Claypool was an absolute dud coming to Chicago. Can he figure it out? Like, you can go either way here. Offensive line, well, Darnell Wright's great. Well, I don't know, man. It's a rookie right tackle. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Like, you can go both ways on this. How do you look at the weapons that are there and the protection as far as setting up Fields for success in year 3?
Yeah, I don't know that you would rate the Bears' skill position talent as top 10 in the league or anything like that. I don't know that you'd say that their offensive line is a finished product and that they're just going to roll these guys out there and expect, sort of perfect execution from day one. But that said, they have 3 backs that they appear to like at this point, maybe more for that matter, but 3 certainly I think we could say with Foreman, Herbert, and Johnson. Johnson, I think, is a really good asset who will help on special teams too. But still, you got that. You've got a lot of receivers now. Granted, it's a little bit of a mishmash group after Moore, but still, there are numbers there that I think you feel pretty good about. And Tyler Scott, I think, again, I was surprised he lasted as long as he did. So I love that upgrade. I thought maybe there was room for another tight end, but again, Kmet, Tunyon, pretty good group. I think they could help in the pass catching department. So it's a solid to good environment in which he can work this year. Another year of comfort and understanding and belief in the Getsy system. It works both ways there too. He knows what Justin likes. Justin knows what he likes. They meet in the middle ideally, and find a good balance between the run game, the QB run game, and the pass game. So, I'd have to sort of look at their schedule a little closer. I know we're getting close to schedule release time, but things obviously are pointing in the right direction, and you have a division that took a big hit with Aaron Rodgers going. That's big from a Bears standpoint. So there are a lot of things that I think at least slant in the direction of Fields taking the next step. If he can get a little bit more consistent ball placement, touch, taking sacks and things like that, know when to throw it away. Those are the finer points that if he masters, they'll happily bring him back, I think.
I want to get your thoughts on some of these picks that the Bears made. And we spent a lot of time talking about the defensive tackles on day 2, but you were doing pick-by-pick analysis during the draft. And when the Bears drafted Tyreek Stevenson, the cornerback out of Miami at pick number 56, you said that Ryan Poles nabbed one of our favorite day 2 prospects in Stevenson, who is a physical, well-built outside corner with some vinegar running through his veins. Chicago wants to keep adding layers to its defense, and Stevenson bolsters a talented young DB room. So it sounds like you really like this pick.
I did. Yeah, I thought there was a chance he could slip through the cracks a little more than he did. I don't remember 56 or wherever he ended up. I mean, I had him rated a little bit higher than that. I think he was 48th or 9th on my overall board. And even with a deep cornerback class, I still feel like, they got him in a really good spot. Others may not think so, but I saw a lot of feistiness in his play, improved playmaking ability. It was something when he was at Georgia. They couldn't quite figure out, did they want to make him a corner? Did they want to put him in that safety kind of hybrid role? He's I think got good length for corner. I would say for safety, it wouldn't be quite as good. The length is okay, but really he runs well. He's not afraid to be aggressive at the catch point. I felt like he got more disciplined as a player, fewer penalties, fewer blown coverages from what I saw. Had a guy on staff at Georgia who said, we didn't know he'd be this good. We weren't sure exactly what he was before he transferred in, I think, 2020 and went to Miami in 2021. So yeah, it felt like he never quite got the respect he deserved in college, and probably the fact that this was such a good corner class helped push him down, but played through pain. I mean, he did a lot of things for them that went overlooked because, Miami's been down a little bit, and he did have a couple injuries, but boy, I think, his durability would be more of a strength than it would be a weakness.
I think a player that most fans are excited for, mainly because average fans watch skill position players more than the trenches when you're watching football, is Roshan Johnson. How quickly do you think he can assert himself into this running back room? I'm seeing people going as far to say, like, he's going to be RB1 by midseason. It's an interesting running back group, and nobody really separating themselves from the other. What are your thoughts with Roshan Johnson?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a Bears fan who's just getting to know Roshan Johnson, you look and you see, oh, okay, he had 500 rush yards, 100 receiving yards. What am I getting excited about exactly? Well, obviously playing behind Bijan Robinson will do that to a man, right? They still found a way to get him 8 to 10 carries every single game, which tells you a lot, right? The 8th pick in the draft, Bijan Robinson, possibly generational talent at running back. He got his carries, but they made sure to earmark quite a few for Roshan as well. He's not Bijan Robinson. He is more of a straight ahead, no nonsense, power running, unbelievable stiff arm. It's one of my favorite things that he'll unleash, and has enough arm length to pull that off, enough upper body strength and enough lower body strength to kind of power through tackles. And, just for a school in Texas that often produced, what scouts would complain were sometimes the country club guys, not the real gritty sort of hardworking dudes. He's the complete opposite. He was Mr. Longhorn, beloved in that locker room by coaches and players alike. That's obviously something you love to hear. Dependable team leader guy who's going to play 4 downs. I think he can play on passing downs on offense. I think he can play coverage units on special teams. As for him pushing aside the other 2 guys, we'll see, but he's a real good fit for a gap running team. And I think that's going to obviously be a big part of what they do. So, he really only had about 450 touches in college. So there's a lot of tread left on those tires too. He's not a blazer, but you don't need him to be. He can be a younger version of what Dante Foreman is hopefully giving you this year. And in a year or two, maybe. I think he's probably a better fit for this scheme than Khalil Herbert in some ways.
Let's just take a little peek at the old linebacker Noah Sewell here. That's how we started the show today, Eric, which I think is why Hoge is looking at me the way he's looking at me, which is adorable.
Actually, I was looking at Bragg.
Oh, he's looking at me because we have our constant Herbert Montgomery running back debate.
Okay, yeah.
We'll never
go ahead with Noah Sewell.
Yeah. Okay. This is there is a Herbert Montgomery battle going on here. I don't quite get the Sewell thing from a you went out, you got TJ Edwards, you signed Tremaine Edmonds, you've got Jack Sanborn. I understand, Bears fans are pushing back at me that it's depth. Shut up, Carm. I watched the tape. He's not a burner. He doesn't seem super fast. He doesn't seem super physical. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm missing here.
Yeah, I think if you want to see a little bit more in the playmaking department, if you go back and watch his 2021 tape, it was pretty fantastic. I mean, I was thinking at that point, boy, is he a second-round pick? Knowing that not a lot of linebackers crack round one. Again, hadn't talked to any scouts about him a year plus ago, but, he was definitely on one of my short lists that I compiled of 2023 prospects that I thought could come out and be a part of this class. But as you said, it was disappointing this year because I think they asked him to do a little bit more coverage wise than he'd done before. Maybe he asked them to, maybe it was out of need. I don't know the answer to that. This is not a change of direction guy. This is not somebody you want floating around and, man coverage covering, Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce. That's not going to fly. But I think as a 2 down, better going forward than in reverse kind of linebacker, run stopper, big, thickly built guy, you could do worse, especially at that point of the draft. So yeah, I think I'm a little bit more on the side of the fans, which is at this phase of the draft, you kind of have to be a little bit realistic about what you're getting and what you're not getting. But I get the questions. Absolutely. Did he look stiff at times? Yeah. Does he have some blitzing ability? I think so. Does he take on blocks well and shed them? Pretty well. Yeah. I mean, he still could do better at breaking those down, but brings some punch. And if you're at all worried about the depth after Edmonds, Edwards, Sanborn, etc., he at least solves one of those problems. I think he's your backup Mike, and then also will play on some coverage units as well. We'll see. It's again, he's a be kind rewind guy. You got to look at last year to kind of get the idea of what he could be. This year was disappointing, no doubt.
Tyler Scott. Now, this guy came on my radar a little bit later in the process, and then as soon as I started watching him, I was like, oh, my God, this guy would be perfect with Justin Fields. Because he has what they're sort of lacking right now, which is that guy who could take the top off the defense, and Justin's got such a good deep ball at times that you want to take advantage of that with those shots. How much more does Tyler Scott have to do to be able to see the field regularly, and how ready would he be in the short term to at least be put on the field in certain situations to make the defense account for him?
Yeah, I think, and I really loved watching him too. And I was talking to somebody with some who'd worked for the Bears in the past, and he was sort of thinking, all right, here's the kind of receiver I think they're going to draft. And we were just talking through it, and I said, that's Tyler Scott. Like that if you're not using a day 1 or early day 2 pick on a receiver, that's probably the guy. So, and it just worked out that way, and they got him lower than I thought he'd go off the board. His teammate Trey Tucker, I would never have imagined he went that far ahead of him. But yeah, he's small, and at 180 pounds or whatever, getting off press coverage if he sees it is going to be a chore that might put him in the slot full time or make him a motion guy. But he's got 3-level ability. You can throw him the short stuff, and he can take those little hitches and go a long way. But he also has that deep ability. I think I saw a stat, his average touchdown in college, and he had 15 or 16 of them, was 40 plus yards, almost 45 yards. I mean, that gives you an idea of what his role will be. It may be streamlined. He may only play 20 snaps a game on offense at first anyway. And you may have to scheme some of it up, keeping him in the slot or having sort of the right design to free him up. But he's got the speed to stress the secondary, like you said, take the top off. And I think he's coachable from what I understand. And he played some special teams. He was a gunner there as well. I just think it made too much sense, even with again, the length being something of an issue, the weight being something of an issue. But, I've heard people say he could be kind of a poor man's Tyler Lockett, and I'd be inclined to believe it.
I love that pick. You are in a position where you're not sure what you're going to do going forward with Claypool/Mooney. You need a depth there. Right. He fits in the room right now. So I thought it made an absolute ton of sense. Was there any moment, Eric, in the draft where you're like, ooh, that's fine. I get why you're going that way, but you were sitting there looking at the Bears board thinking you should have taken somebody else at that particular time in the draft?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of briefly teased it a little earlier. I mean, Javon Dexter wasn't my favorite player to watch. It wasn't my least favorite either. I don't want to make it seem like I hated the pick. I would give that pick like a C minus if I had to just grade the individual selection. And I just felt like you'd see a little flash here or there, like, wow, this guy could do some interesting stuff for that size, right? He's a long guy for that position, but it was never consistent enough for me. I never felt like he was disruptive. And there were times he saw combo blocks and everything like that, but I just was left wanting a little bit more. And at least with Keanu Benton, who I think went about 4 or 5 picks ahead of them. So within range, somebody they could have reasonably moved up for if they didn't want to, if they were willing to part with an extra pick. I felt like I had a better feel for how he would fit in this defense, and you could put him at that 3-tech spot, meaning Benton. And I think that's where Dexter, probably plays. If you see Pickens as more of a kind of a gap shooting nose or a one technique or something, I don't know. They could have a different impression of him, but yeah, that was the one where I thought, okay, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know that I see a true difference maker, even if he's been durable and fairly reliable.
Eric, no, you've been working hard, man. I appreciate the time today to come on with us, and great job throughout all these months, and we're going to continue to read what you got on NFL.com as you continue to recap everything. So thanks a lot.
Who are we picking next?
I'm going to continue watching you guys. Yeah, I love it, man. Thanks for having me on.
Great stuff, Eric. Appreciate you.
There he is,
King
Eric
of the
Edholm.
Draft.
I need to know who we're picking next year.
How do you not join me when I go for the cheer of the guest? I'm trying to be the hype guy. I need a first follower, and you just sit there with nothing.
Nope, I'll let you drown.
Also, why do you need to know who they're going to draft next year?
Well, because we all want Marvin Harrison Jr.
When your takeaway will be, we'll wait and see how good he is.
Listen here. Not if it's Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh,
we will
so
not
Marvin
wait and
Harrison.
see.
Then you're all in.
I can't stand how everyone hates Javon Dexter.
There is literally not one person who says anything good about Javon Dexter.
I hate
his family doesn't understand why the Bears drafted him at 53.
That's not true.
I'm
also,
over
Moot and I said a lot of good things about him.
Levante's in on him. A+ pick. Don't fault him for what he was asked to do.
Yeah.
It's like,
okay.
man.
Wait and see.
Levante's been in the chat for the last 2 days. He loves the pick.
If Levante believes in him, I'm going to switch my opinion.
Levante, man, appreciate your opinion, but you still should be getting off the ball faster regardless of what he's being asked to do.
I mean, that
Still being in a 3-point stance while the play is already happening is not good.
Kurt loves him too. 8,000 exclamation point. I love Dexter. I mean, let's not worry about the fact that he's looking like he's I don't know. What's the word I'm looking for? Taking a nap. We'll make it. We'll clean it up a little bit.
Taking a nap.
When the ball is set. He takes a little bit of like a 5-second nap, and then he goes. But, hey, coachable, no problem. Traits, there's some incredible plays that you can definitely find.
I got some big Northwestern news right now.
Are you serious?
That has something to do with one of these Bears draft picks.
Okay. I have no idea what's happening.
The guy that was throwing footballs to Tyler Scott on all those touchdowns that Eric Edholm was just talking about, just transferred to Northwestern.
Wow.
Ben Bryant.
Cats need a QB and a bunch of other things.
Go Cats.
He just tweeted about 12 minutes ago.
Thank
you, Cincinnati, for all you have done for me. You will always be home. Thank you, Coach Fitz, for this incredible opportunity. Let's get to work.
What year is he?
I have to double check. I'm assuming senior, but he was definitely the quarterback who was throwing footballs in the Tyler Scott film I was watching.
Ben Bryant.
Also, really, I should say the Travis Bell tape I was watching.
Yeah.
Because Travis Bell.
Welcome to the bottom of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Hey, now.
Cincinnati, then Eastern Michigan. I mean, Eastern Michigan, this is a weird career.
Wait, am I wrong here? No. He was at Eastern Michigan, then he went to Cincinnati. He's a redshirt senior from Lyons Township, so he's a local kid.
Braggs, why don't you read this super
I'm
chat?
not sure if this Wikipedia is correct, but
Chubb.
it's very weird.
Let me teach you something. Go
Chubbs
to
in the
the
chat
school
says-
websites, not Wikipedia.
Chubbs in the chat, super chat, $5. No one cares about Northwestern. Get a defensive end.
There you go.
Love it, Chubbs. I agree.
Are you Chubbs?
I am not Chubbs. Chubbs is a good man.
Beautiful dog.
Chubbs is a good man.
I think you're Chubbs.
He's not. I'm not.
Pins and Aces has a ball marker that is Chubbs' hand from Happy Gilmore.
Oh, I was like, I like it.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Go check out Pins and
You
Aces.
said they have the cracker too.
Yes, they have the cracker. I got that one.
This is the
It's in my
weirdest
golf bag right now.
college career of any player I've ever seen.
I couldn't
He
tell
started
you.
at Cincinnati, went to Eastern Michigan, went back to Cincinnati, now he's at Northwestern. Was he a professional player?
I couldn't tell you how nervous I was when Eric was on, and every time it was my turn to talk, I was like, "Is my voice going to fail me right now?"
Yeah.
Every time I was terrified.
You were so good, though.
The people in the chat could tell too. I was completely terrified.
Yeah.
And you know what, Hoge? I don't want to hear nothing because I was watching your Hoge and John's podcast, and you had to clear your throat on that podcast. And I'll pull up the tape if I have to.
No, you're right. It does happen.
'Cause I was watching, and I was sitting in my garage. I was like, "Oh!" That's what I. That's the big noise.
First of all, I just like that you watch Hogan Johns in your garage.
Where else are you going to watch it?
Do you not get enough of them here?
you know, sometimes I like to hear Hoge talk without Cram interrupting it.
Oh,
Great
my
point.
God.
Great point. Also, you're
Set that
100%
one
right.
up on a tee.
Once every 2 weeks, I do have to clear my throat in the middle of a show, not 6 times a show.
Yeah, it's been a rough week. I'm working on it.
All right. Hey, you know what you need? You need some Shady Rays.
You do.
Let's
I
just
do.
put you in a nice, good-looking mood.
Yeah.
You won't
And
need to
what
clear
it does
your
cover
throat
up
then.
his beautiful blue eyes, but
Yeah, why would I do that?
That's a good point. But you want to take on the sun with gear built to last, and our friends at Shady Rays have you covered for the warm weather ahead. Still ahead. Hopefully it's coming. With premium polarized shades at an affordable price, Shady Rays is an independent sunglass company that offers a world-class product that's good, just as good as any expensive pair that we've worn. Durable frames, extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures, and that's not all, because Shady Rays has the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you're laying brick one day and they fall off your head, and then you drop a brick, which Braggs, of course, never does. But
That's
if
not
you
true.
did, and
I
then
always do.
the brick landed on your Shady Rays, you could just
Crunch.
get a new pair, just like that.
Nice.
Yeah, just making sure you know about it. You can wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after you purchase. And if you don't love your Shady Rays, exchange for a new pair. Return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back. And this is exclusive for our listeners. Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com. Use code CHGO for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people.
not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5 big stars, Lawrence. Team.
5.
Hi, how are you?
Okay.
Also a reminder, team, that yes, the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is committed to helping families like Greg Braggs' family and businesses in the communities they serve, helping manage energy usage and lowering energy bills now and into the future, Flags.
That's right, Cram. Because ComEd offers a wide variety of incentives on lighting and other efficiency upgrades to commercial, industrial, and public sector customers of all sizes across the territory. ComEd also offers free facility assessments that can help find energy-saving opportunities like for HVAC systems, commercial kitchen equipment, or industrial processes.
Can you explain to me, Flags, how exactly that works,
I
please?
will, and
Thank you.
I won't stutter over my words when I do that, because an authorized engineer will work with you to develop a detailed assessment plan specific to your goals and needs. These can be done in person or virtually and last approximately 2 hours. Within 3 to 4 weeks, customers will receive a report detailing energy efficiency projects that they can start working on immediately. Each recommendation will include estimated energy savings, cost savings, project costs, potential incentives, and simple payback. If you own a business, don't wait. Get started saving money and energy today. For energy saving tips, lighting incentives, or to schedule your free facility assessment, go to ComEd.com/poweringbiz.
Let's all say it together. Did you say ComEd.com/poweringbiz?
Yes, I did. Schedule it today.
That's an outstanding job, by the way. A reminder, the CHGO Bears offseason coverage, which you love, need, and are addicted to, is brought to you by ComEd's Energy Efficiency Program. Learn more at ComEd.com/poweringbiz. How many days is 3 or 4 weeks, Braggs?
What?
How many days is 3 or 4 weeks?
21, 28? Why are you?
Just checking your math, that's all. Little time stable, little. Just want to make sure that we're.
Can I just ask? Is the Cram and Flag show over, or
I don't know what he's asking me this for. I didn't do this.
Or is that gonna just keep going?
All right, Flags. See you later. Cram saying goodbye.
It's not gonna catch.
Back to you, Hoge.
I just was wondering. I'm enjoying the show.
Are you though?
Cram and Flags, the Flags and Cram show.
That's definitely something you see.
We're branching out.
You guys we're gonna start a new pod.
It definitely airs on like local RSNs at like 3 in the afternoon. It's Cram and Flags. You're like, oh god, these idiots.
Yes.
I think it's a solid overnight show.
Okay, 3 a.m.
You wanted to host overnights your whole life.
I have.
You're so weird.
I just want to take you through your overnight. Because literally the overnight is such a great look for a host because they're just so happy that you're there. You don't need to do anything other than turn on the microphone and just say hello.
You can also talk into it, but that's
How
a
you
whole other
doing?
story.
Well, meanwhile, we're going to talk to our microphones now and talk about the top 3 position groups that we have for the Bears and the bottom 3. We spent the morning ranking them. I have to say, this was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be.
This was a fun exercise.
Which I think is a testament to how much better the roster is.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was actually pretty hard. Now, the bottom one was very easy.
Yes.
But beyond that, I think we had some disagreements, and it's interesting. Let's start with the top though, and here they are. By the way, I have to point out that I have a new face.
A new caricature.
They've added face.
They put glasses on you?
They put glasses on me.
How
do we think? We're willing.
How do you feel about it?
Well, here's the thing. I know I sit here. I know I sit here every day on this show and Hoge and John's with my glasses on, but the reality is I don't usually wear my glasses.
You look great with your glasses here, but that dude is scuffling.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, I think you look fantastic there. I think over there.
Was it your choice to add the glasses?
No, it was Eric made an updated one. He asked me what I thought, and I was like, I get why you want to do it. I do wear my glasses on the show every day, but I don't feel like I'm actually a glasses guy, if that makes sense, because the rest of my day I don't wear them unless I'm sitting in my office at home.
I mean, I like 8 Hour Vibes in the chat that that made Hoge look like some sort of internal disease.
Wow.
That's aggressive.
Whoa.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think it's quite that bad, but I don't think it's reflective of how cute and adorable you are.
Glasses on, glasses off.
Torian says the other one was better.
Okay.
And Doug Dyer said, how much did you pay, Greg, for the caricature to have 10 pounds less on your face? So we're all taking shots here.
Listen, I look like I'm 96 years old in mine, so there's that. And I had to ask upper management, can we take a little bit of that gray out of the old Carman caricature?
Yeah. Why would you do that? It'd be a lie. Look at your head.
Easy. This thing is
gray.
It's not. I'm at least 40% pepper.
I don't sit here and go, this is not gray. I know it is.
I'm 40% pepper. 38, 32. Where am I at here?
Wait. Which part's the pepper?
The black, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe 27%.
I think you're a solid 27.
So really, I mean, hey, happy to be here. Better than the alternative.
That's what I'm saying.
A, that I have hair, and B, that I'm not dead.
As long as it's there, I don't care what color it is. It could be pink as long as it's up there on my head.
Carm, you look 96 years old in real life. It was spot on, says Doug Dyer. But Johnny Rampage says, Carm, not embracing his Silver Fox era. Yeah, come on.
I think you look great.
I'm not, because I want to be 26 for eternity.
I think you look fantastic.
His younger pictures, he looks much goofier, so I think he's doing fine.
Braggs actually has underrated hair, but he always puts a hat on it, which I never understand.
Well,
Don't worry about why I do things.
Okay.
Let's get on to the
all right. So
All right, back to the rankings as we got distracted there. But this was interesting. You guys love your – okay. I went linebacker. We're all in agreement the linebackers are good, but you guys have them second. I think when you look across the board, they have 3 really good starters. They have some depth now. Adding Noah Sewell, it's already a position where you have 3 starters in really 2.5 spots because most of the time you don't even usually have 3 linebackers on the field. So the depth is there. The starters are there. I thought it was where are you guys seeing running backs better than linebacker? Of those 2 units, who's the best player?
Well, the Bears had the best
me.
running game.
You can say Tremaine Edmonds?
Absolutely I am.
Okay.
And then I'd probably say TJ Edwards.
Okay.
Okay, so
Before I get to
Bears-
Khalil Herbert or Dante Foreman.
the Bears had the best running game in football last year. I get
Yes.
Justin Fields had a big benefit to that,
Yeah.
but the running game itself was very good.
I agree.
And now they have 3 running backs that are all better than David Montgomery. So take that. And I'm serious when
Okay,
I say
Cap.
that. I'm
So
serious.
you're saying Roshan Johnson's already better than David Montgomery?
Dude, I'm telling you, they're better. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Saturday morning when you woke
David
up, did you
Montgomery
know who
had
Roshan
200
Johnson was?
Yes, I watched Roshan Johnson play the last
I
few
like
years.
that question.
Yes, that's the one person I can actually speak with confidence on
The one person?
in our draft that I can say
The
I
rest
watched
are wait and see.
a handful of times. I mean, I watched Tennessee play 5 or 6 times last year. How many times was I dialed in on Darnell Wright? None, because I watch the skill position guys when I watch a game. I'm not watching the trenches when I'm watching Tennessee take on Alabama. Just not. I'm being honest. So, yeah, I have watched Roshan Johnson play. And I know he's a very good player, and I know he's going to fit well with this team. And we beat this dead horse a million times, me and you, Hoge. You know how I feel about Khalil Herbert. I think he's a very solid player. And I like the addition of Dante Foreman. He's a proven back in this league. And all 3 of them, if you gave them 200 carries, could get more than 1 20-yard carry in a season. So I believe the running game was a huge strength to this team last year, and I think it'll be just as good, if not better, this year.
So, and I am with Gregory on this. Look, I'm open to Tremaine Edmonds being, a big-time guy, but the fact of the matter is that he's got a ways to go in my mind to prove that he's some elite running linebacker. You're looking at me like I'm crazy, but I mean,
Really good.
okay, all right. I
Also, Jack Sanborn graded out higher than Khalil Herbert for me last year.
yeah,
And he's the 3rd linebacker.
but they're just diminishing him to levels that just make me.
I'm just okay. It doesn't really matter.
3-headed monster, baby. Roshan's coming in here to kick ass. I'm a huge Khalil Herbert fan. And listen, Dante Foreman, you watch the tape. That dude is on a 1-year deal coming in here to play physical. I like that.
Sure. Last year's tape. Now, we should probably debate the wide receivers because I'm the only one to put wide receivers in there.
I do think Sandgod's better than Edmonds. Go ahead, keep going.
And I'm a little. Am I overrating what they have at wide receiver? I mean,
Not at all.
Darnell Mooney was really good. We were all talking about how great Darnell Mooney was going into last season. He obviously, like everyone in the offense early on, struggled and then got a lot better and then got hurt. I mean, if he's healthy, I still think he's Darnell Mooney. And now you have DJ Moore, who as of right now would be the franchise leader in receiving yards. So, and I think in the role as number 3, Chase Claypool is a pretty solid number 3 to have. As much as people are up his ass about not being good when he got here, those expectations were a little bit unfair. But and it's not just you guys, because Will and Nick were in our Slack today too. They don't love the wide receivers as much. Am I overrating this?
I don't think you are at all. My rankings just speak to the depth of this team now, and I like the depth of these positions. I think the wide receiver room has something to prove for sure this year. But one stat that stands out to me, the Bears are one of 4 teams in the NFL with 3 wide receivers on their current roster to have 850 receiving yards or more in a single season. And Darnell Mooney and DJ Moore having over 1,000 between the two of them in a single season. So I do think it's a very deep room, but when you're considering Mooney now coming off an injury and Claypool being a few years removed from his best year, they have something to prove. And then when you take into account the fact that they have to actually create this chemistry together, and that's not going to happen overnight, that's why they fell down in my ranking. Maybe I did this exercise wrong. That's just how I looked at it.
We're also getting a ton of pushback in the comments about all of us having quarterback third, which shocks me because if you ever say anything remotely negative about Fields, you get killed.
Right, but
now apparently we're overrating him.
If you go by actual production to this point, it's a fair take.
Well, first of all, just so how people understand how I did this, I looked at my grades and combination of what I had last year as I graded out the season, and then what I'm projecting from the newcomers, right? And obviously you're taking a huge guess on the rookies as you factor them in here. But there were 2 players. The best 2 players returning from last year, according to my grades, are Justin Fields and Jack Sanborn. They're the only 2 returning starters that graded out as at least as long-term starters.
And we get emotional.
Which I think
Saying God.
I think there's a lot more depth on this roster, but they're still lacking, the elite talent, the blue chip talent. And that's where even with DJ Moore, I think there's a debate. I'm not necessarily sure I put DJ Moore in blue chip territory. I think I put him in long-term starter territory. At least that's how I put him down. The point being, though, I think Justin Fields is the best player on offense, right?
Let's hope so. He better be.
Okay, so then why wouldn't he be third on the list, especially with P.J. Walker being, in my opinion, an upgrade as a backup?
Don't forget the undrafted quarterback we got. Ty
Badgent.
The Badgenty?
Yeah.
The beauty pageant?
The Badger.
Listen, we can be glass half full here, and it's fun that we can actually have this debate because there is talent around, across the field right now, which is super nice to say. And to the wide receiver thing with me, I just got to see it come together. It was so unbelievably not together last year. I mean, Claypool did nothing. Mooney got hurt. Mooney's had one very, very, very good season, getting over 1,000 yards, and Claypool's had one. And DJ Moore's looking for a house, and he doesn't. And he's not exactly wild about the price points in the burbs. I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be very good. I think he's going to change the whole dynamic. I like the receiver room, but I also there's a certain level of comfortness going on in Bears fan world right now that we are just set and the offense is ready. And I do want to push back on it because I almost feel like it's going to be unfair to Fields if we're all going to sit there and say the line is set, the receivers are set, the running backs are set, and if Fields starts out slow, then you're all going to have to say the quarterback sucks. And I don't want to be put in that position. I got to see these guys come together first.
I think the whole offense on paper looks very good, and I still have a lot of concern about the offensive line. I mean,
well, let's get to that here then.
Yes,
That's a good transition then to our bottom 3 because we all still put the offensive line on this list. Let's start from 10 and work our way up because 8 is where we have some debate, but we are all unanimous that the D-line right now. And at first we did separate this defensive tackle versus end, and obviously I think you feel better about the tackles than you did, a week ago, but it's still a bunch of unknowns. I mean, it's still a bunch of unproven guys or, guys that were here last year that didn't step up enough.
For corner?
No, I'm talking about D-line right now
Okay,
and why
I'm
that
sorry.
one's last. So I think everybody understands that, that's why that's there.
That was a hands downer. And
then offensive line. I actually think the offensive line's a lot better, but I think this speaks to what we're talking about here, that the depth is better across the board. Because I was like, I'm like, really? I have offensive line second to bottom, but that's every other position I had to hire, I still think is a little bit better. So I think that's a really good thing. If the offensive line has improved like I think it has, and it's 9th on this list.
Right. Correct. And we also, we were having the debate before the show, do we split out the D-line from edge to to tackle? But then do we have to do that with the O-line too? So we just decided to group them all together. So we could have had a little more nuance in there, but that's how we did it.
A lot of people wondering why I have cornerback on there.
Yes, so do I.
And I get it. Do the Bears have a true shutdown corner?
Jalen Johnson.
Do the Bears have a true shutdown corner?
Jalen Johnson.
If you want to say that he's not, that's fine. But then he's like right below.
I'm talking like all pro, gonna get paid. Do they have one of those guys?
Yes, Jalen Johnson.
Okay. The league.
I think I'm with Hoge that
I like Jalen Johnson a lot, but
Yeah.
he is not a Jalen Ramsey at his peak type cornerback.
Gary's got it right. High 2, low 1. Very high 2, low 1.
Yes, he's the Darnell Mooney of cornerbacks.
No.
To put it
Come
that way.
on. Come on.
What?
He's been way more of a consistent performer than Darnell.
What are you talking about? This is the same exact debate we had about Darnell Mooney last year. He's a high 2, low 1.
Darnell Mooney is a 3.
Okay, now here comes a hot take.
You don't think I think.
Well, then that explains why you didn't like the wide receivers.
Yeah, I think he's a 3.
Okay. I think you're underrating Darnell Mooney there.
If
I
you
hope
had
I
put,
am, but I
if
don't think
we
I
had
am.
put, like we talked about, packaging the defensive line together, not splitting them up between D tackles and D ends. If you had put the whole secondary together, they would have shot up my list.
Sure, I had the safeties higher, but we decided to split that up. So I like Jalen Johnson, but he's not. He's just. I'm sorry, he's not. Otherwise, I would have already extended him. Otherwise, he'd be locked up, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out this summer going into training camp. Kyler Gordon, again, young kid. I'm really hyped up on, but there were some inconsistencies there last season, and I don't think it's a slam dunk that he just takes off this year. I think there's a chance he does. And then the third spot, I hope Eric Edholm's right on how much he likes Tyreek Stevenson, but that's still a rookie who we don't really necessarily know how he's going to come in and accept his role, whatever that role is. And by the way, they're one injury from Kindle Vildor being in there again.
I don't mind Kindle Vildor.
Well, I don't think he's terrible as your fourth.
Yeah.
But the depth there is still questionable to me. So that's
I thought the secondary and the corners battled their ass off last year with a pass rush that was non-existent. I thought they were the second best bright spot to the team short of Justin Fields last year. And when you talk about depth, I think Jalen Johnson is good. Yeah, we want more production, interceptions, turnovers, but I thought he was solid. He even played hurt at one point, which then goes against he looks bad because he's getting eaten up by Miami. He also was playing hurt that game. I thought Kyler Gordon got better as the year went on. I thought if we're going to talk about depth, Josh Blackwell and Jalen Jones, They were battling their ass off at the end against teams like the Philadelphia Eagles, who have a dynamic passing attack, got to the Super Bowl, and the Bears were giving them hell. It was a frigidly cold day, but I thought the secondary played well last year when you consider that there was no linebackers and zero pass rush.
One linebacker.
Well, he came in late into the fold, but for a moment it was who the hell's playing linebacker?
Mid-year, and then he got hurt, so fine.
Look, I'm
I also like Josh. That's a good call by New Harper. Josh Blackwell played not Jones.
I just said that too.
Yeah, he's going to be a great special teamer. Kid
Okay,
going forward.
depth.
Yeah, I got you. Everyone,
I'm offended by where you put them.
chill out. The point is, they're in a much better spot. If I have corners all the way down that far, and I struggled with, someone had to be 8.
That's true.
Which
That's
is
fair.
why- which
That's
is
fair.
why-
Because the other options were
Kicker.
tight
I'll
end.
get to your kicker in a second.
Because I had tight end.
Who was next on my list? Originally, okay, so yeah, I ended up swapping O-line and corner. So the next on my list is like a debate between safeties, tight ends, running back. Like, they're all bunched up.
Evenly.
Like, someone has to drop down to be number 8. You got to pick them somewhere. I'm not just kind of a 4-way tie when we're trying to have a show and do an argument here.
Sure.
Right. I mean, we could sit here honestly and say, like, top 9, pretty solid. You can do that if you want to go glass half full.
Like, ultimately, I just decided I like the tight ends a little bit more because I think Cole Kmet's actually pretty good. I think Robert Tunyon's a great upgrade as your number 2 tight end. So I think that there's depth there. The safeties I like. We decided to separate corners and safeties. You guys have the running backs, as high as you do. Someone had to be there. If I had put Justin Fields
fair.
there, I would have been blocked by every Bears fan on Twitter.
That's fair.
But my point is the gap between 3 and 8, there isn't much of a gap.
And is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's a good thing.
Okay.
I think overall it's a really good thing. So.
Okay, I'm sorry for yelling.
All right. I love you guys all.
Well, and then my last point to our bottom rankings was offense. Like when Carm brings up his concern of like, well, we all consider the offensive line just going to go. I do still have concern about the offensive line. Darnell Wright, I'm sure, is a great prospect. He's a rookie. How is he going to adjust right away to the NFL? And then Tevin Jenkins, is he going to stay healthy all year? I highly doubt it. I certainly hope so, but I'm not holding my breath when it comes to that. Braxton Jones, he's got to keep getting better. We don't know for sure. Cody Whitehair, playing center. He was not great at snapping the ball when he was at center. They moved him off center. So, the one guy I feel extremely confident about week 1 right out the gate is Nate Davis and the fact that they brought him in. Other than that, all these guys got a lot to prove, and they all have to come together as a unit too.
All right, let's end the show with this. Why do you hate Cairo Santos?
Because he can't make an extra point. Because he's getting into his mid-30s and he's 5'4". So he's got to put literally everything into it, and his body is starting to go.
Did you just cite the height of a kicker?
I did.
Okay.
I'm hiding the kicker. Just like Poles is going out there with his RAS scores and his measurables. That is a poor height for a kicker. I want a tall kicker with long measurables. Give me Trenton Gill. How tall is he? 6'4"? I love that guy. Stands there like a stout punter. I don't know. I'm just not. Cairo was rough last year, man. If the Bears were actually winning games, those kicks might have mattered, and it could have been the derailment of the season. And so if we're looking for something on this list where I don't feel completely comfortable, I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure about Cairo Santos.
You want Robbie?
Sure, but that's a short term. I'd rather have a long term fit than Robbie for a year or two, unless he's just going to be like. Okay. Never say die
I
goal.
will never forgive the Bears for not signing Harrison Butker when he was widely available. A guy with the last name Butker, and the Bears don't sign him when we needed a kicker. Just ridiculously atrocious.
Do you know how many field goals Robbie Gould missed in 2015?
More than Santos.
When the Bears...
In 2015, okay.
In 2015, his last year, when he, quote-unquote, struggled, and the Bears decided they had to move on and go in a new direction. He missed 6 field goals. He went 33 of 39.
Dude.
And he missed 1 extra point. Keep in mind, I believe, if I have my years right, I'm not sure they had what year did they move the extra points back? I'm not sure. I'd have to double check.
2 years ago.
That might have still been when they were short. I'll double check on that. Regardless, he missed 6 field goals. Cairo Santos last year missed 2 field goals. The whole season, he missed 2 field goals. Less attempts.
Missed 6 extra
but his percentage was higher. He missed 5 extra points last season.
And
he went through
did any kicker in
and
all
a few
football.
of them were in really bad weather.
Did one of them
2 of them, right?
cost him
was
a
in
game,
that.
though.
Did any...
But he was in on the tank. He got the Bears' number 1
I was
pick
gonna
by
say
blowing the
thank
game
you.
against the Lions.
MVP. Put him in the MVP category for last year. But did anybody in the NFL miss more extra points than Cairo Santos last year? I'd have to look, but I'm going to guess
Probably
the answer is
not.
not.
I'd give him 1 more year. Because before last year, I thought he was really clutch. And I thought he played the wind really well in Chicago. That's another thing that is always very underestimated.
Does he have a big leg? Do you feel comfortable when you're outside the 50?
It's less about how big your leg is kicking at Soldier Field and more about your understanding of the wind.
How many games do they kick on the road?
It takes time to adjust. I do think – because the one thing I do like about Cairo is when he had his problems kicking extra points, he changed it up. And instead of he moved to the hash or moved it off to the left hash because he said he wanted it to be like him kicking a field goal. And when you talk about double dink, he wouldn't change up his process at all. And at least Cairo recognized he had a problem. He's like, how can I get myself in an uncomfortable position so I can start making kicks again? That's thinking outside the box, trying to make yourself better, not double dink, who refused to drive to Soldier Field.
All right.
All right.
By the way,
All I'm
Your favorite player then this
Yeah.
weekend at rookie minicamp?
Yeah.
Have you done any homework on
No.
Andre Schmidt,
No.
kicker, Syracuse,
Okay.
high school,
The Schmidt dog?
Vernon Hills?
Really?
Yes. Local kid.
Okay. Andre Schmidt. I'm going to start to research today.
Undrafted free agent. I don't know why you're looking at me like that. You just spent 10 minutes talking crap about Cairo. I'm telling you they have another kicker.
Yeah, but
You should be excited about this. He's from Vernon Hills.
is he just
He's a Cougar.
Is he just filling out the roster, or is it a real thing?
I don't know. You're the kicking expert who thinks Cairo sucks.
Well, as you said a second ago, Hoge, you got to put somebody 8th, and I'm going to choose to put Cairo 8th over the quarterbacks. Apparently, you think that Jalen Johnson is worse than Cairo Santos. That is a preponderance of preposterous.
Well, we didn't do player rankings. We did positional groups.
Well, key guys in that position. Cairo is the key guy in the kicking, and Jalen is the key guy in the corner room. You picked Cairo over Jalen.
Okay. Sure. Super chat. Isaac. Question out of nowhere today, but I'm going to let Braggs handle this one since this
What did I
is
do?
his expertise. Isaac asked $5. Are the Bears going to allow video clips and live streaming of practices this year, you think? Just curious.
No, I don't. It's not a team policy or a president policy. It's their social media team. They want to keep the content for them so they can put their stuff out in the time they want. It's not about – everybody always thought it was about the coaches or anything. I think it's more of a social media decision, so I think they'll just handle it themselves, and that's fine. And I'll play by the rules. There will be some people there that don't, and we'll be able to see some things, but I'm going to play by the rules, have fun at camp, do your thing. That's all I got on it.
Cornelius Pryor, $199.
Yeah, let's
I'm
hope they
assuming
get
GB is Javon Dexter. Javon Dexter is going to get 6 sacks and lead all rookies.
Cornelius, we all hope you're right.
You got him, my man.
And back to the video thing, let's just hope they get Hard Knocks. I don't know how many people want it. I want it. I think it'd be great. Hoping they announce that soon. And then we'll get all the inside look at camp that we all deserve and need. I would love Hard Knocks.
I guess it's going to be the Jets, especially with the way that Aaron Rodgers has been so publicly cleaned up and going to Knicks games and Rangers games, and he seems like he's embracing the limelight. I think that's what it's going to be.
Well, then I won't watch one freaking episode.
You
'Cause
know,
I can't stand that guy.
I was thinking about the song. I was in the Discord earlier today, and we got to Dust in the Wind.
Dust in the wind.
So I'm like,
That is literally not how that song sounds at all. That was terrible.
all we are is dust in the wind. And so then I'm getting, so now
was
you
that not how the-
Same old
Okay,
song.
I'm gonna just hit the end screen unless
No,
this is gonna
but
go
like,
anywhere.
but let's go
This
out on
better
this.
go somewhere.
Let's go out on this with like, because Bragg's talking about training camp, and he's there, and it's sunshine, and the Bears are getting ready to play football and fall, and it's just a beautiful time of the year. So I was just thinking, like, just Bragg's in the stands,
No.
Bragg's at training camp.
you got 4 months to work on this.
Yeah.
All we need is Bragg's at training camp.
Stay tuned. We have a special episode of Cram and Flags.
Flags and cram
Coming up.
overnight, midnight tonight.
the after show.
You know how to do
I would love to do an over with you.
You can do it on Spaces.
Midnight till 6 a.m., the Grobstein special.
Don't you do that already? Don't you have like an overnight show on Twitter Spaces?
Yeah, Spaces. We're on Spaces. Our Crazy Ace went in one the other day, and he was like, what am I listening to right now?
It's such a
like, this
bad
is what we do.
experience.
All right. We're out of here. Quick programming note. Next 2 days are going to be switched up. So tomorrow's going to be a Chicago Audible Thursday. Will and Nick will have you covered at noon. We'll be back Friday, special edition, late afternoon show. We're aiming for 4-ish, but it could be somewhat flexible. But we are going to recap the first day of rookie minicamp. We'll have you covered from everything at House Halls. We get to meet the rookies. So that's happening Friday. Next
I
2
invited?
days. No, you're not invited.
Fine. I'll have my throat cleared by then.
Will and Nick, we'll talk to you tomorrow.